Now, one of the men here is surrounded by 4 attendants. He's actually Xiao He, and he is the chancellor of Liu Bang, who later becomes the emperor of the newly founded Han dynasty. So he's chasing Han Xin, who is a low-ranking military officer whose talents were never recognized by Liu Bang's army. So he decides to leave the army in disappointment. However, the Chancellor Xiao He deeply believes that Han Xin is a man of many talents, so he's chasing after him here, trying to persuade him to return.
And so how long have you been collecting Chinese porcelain?
Well, I started collecting about 30 years ago. I started collecting for a really decorative reason. So what I collected was kind of Mandarin palette, Qinglong, that kind of thing. It's only probably within the last 25 years that I really focused on collecting a specific period, the 17th century. The collection as it stands now, not everything is from when I started out.
Now here's another piece showing a very fascinating story. We can see a bearded man fishing by a river, and he's being approached by a group of very formal-looking men. Now this fisherman is actually Jiang Taigong, a military strategist who wanted to assist the benevolent King Wen of Zhou. But in order to do this, he first needed to meet the king and gain his trust. So he decides to do something quite peculiar. So he's fishing here, but if you look very closely, you'll see that the fish hook is actually straight, and the fish hook actually hovers above the water. Now what this means is that the fish can actually never get caught on this hook, which shows that the real intention of him fishing was not to catch fish, but really just to catch the attention of the king who would be passing by. He succeeds in this, and the king engages in conversation with him, and then he realizes that Jiang Taigong is a man who is very wise, who would assist him in overthrowing the corrupt Shang dynasty, and that is what they did in the end.
And when you made that sort of transition from those sort of early decorative pieces to the Kangxi period, have you got an early example from memory that you bought?
Yeah, so there's a piece here which is a brush pot which I bought right at the beginning of that period, and what attracted me to it was the spacing on it, the way that the Kangxi painters did at the time, and also the kind of the intriguing bit about the ferryman coming out of his boat and looking at the sea was got my interest as well.
We also have many Kangxi porcelain depicting exciting battle scenes like the one we can see on this large dish. Over here we see 2 fierce warriors wearing military armor attacking each other. So they are on horseback holding long spears. There are also soldiers holding large banners nearby. And above here we see an important looking military general observing the scene below. Now these individuals are probably also based on actual historical figures, and it is possible that the scene shows the Battle of Meiliangchuan, a very important episode in early Tang history when the Tang general Qin Qiong engaged in battle with enemy forces led by Yu Chijingde. Now, Yu Chijingde eventually surrendered to the Great Tang after being defeated in this battle, and he actually became a loyal general of the Tang Emperor. So what we're seeing here is essentially the 2 top military generals of the time engaged in battle. So this is a very thrilling scene that is very well captured by the painter. And over here we have a blue and white censer, which is very delicately potted with 3 small feet on the bottom. And over here we see a very busy scene of immortals all gathered together. And we also see very auspicious creatures. So we have a pair of phoenixes symbolizing prosperity. We have a deer here symbolizing longevity. And we have a wonderful dragon which appears to be magically conjured up from this Taoist priest's mouth, running alongside here. And the dragon, of course, is a symbol of wisdom, power, and benevolence in China. So last but not least, we have this beautiful blue and white gu-shaped vase. Now, this is a very classic shape. The gu shape is based on an ancient bronze wine vessel shape. So it's characterized by this protruding midsection with a flaring top and a flaring bottom here as well. So we have here a very busy scene of lots of figures. So these scenes are based on a famous poem by the Tang poet Du Fu,